everybody, welcome back to the Chaotic Little Book Corner. My name's Acacia. Today I'm going to be doing my mid-month wrap-up for October. These are the 7 books that I've read so far this month. I hope you guys enjoy them. There's one that I haven't mentioned yet, but I'm going to mention it in the wrap-up for the Autumn Readathon because I put it in that TBR and I loved it so much and it's ridiculous, so I'll talk about it then. But, oh, there's a squirrel. Huh. Okay, anyway. So I've read 7 books so far, technically 8, but I haven't mentioned that one in this video. So let's dive in order of least to most enjoyed, but I enjoyed all of them, so it's not as easy to rate them. First, we have Joy McGlough, Bloodwater Paint. So this is based on a true story. The story of Artemisia Gentileschi. And I have trouble pronouncing that, I'm going to be honest. This is the story of a woman who was given the option between a nunnery and working for her father with paint, but she couldn't do what she wanted to do. And she picks the paint, and her life spirals out of control after a sexual assault, and she decides to actually follow through and to accuse and to try and fight that this happened to her. And this is the story of how she was treated after that scenario. It's really good. I really enjoyed it. It's written all in verse, which is really nice, and you whip through it really quickly. It only comes in at, there are no pages, no page numbers. So I don't know what it comes in at, but maybe 100 pages because, no, that doesn't make sense. There are 100 verses and probably about 200 pages. So I really enjoy this. I really recommended it. I went through it in about 3 hours. It wasn't hard to dive into and dive out of. I enjoyed it. I just wouldn't say it's amazing. I wouldn't say it's the best thing I've ever read, but I believe it was longlisted for the National Book Award Association for YA, and I really think it deserved that. I think it was really good, and it was a really well done book, and I would recommend it if you like verse and stories about something true life. It was good. Then we have this. This was also longlisted for the National Book Award prize. I don't think it made it to the short list. This is Gun Love. This is about Pearl, who lives in her car with her mother, and she is going through a lot of things, and her life isn't that easy. I enjoyed it. It was fine. It definitely made me happy to read, but sad at the same time. I just would say the second half is not as good as the first half, and I heard that also on Russell from Ink and Paper Blog's opinion, and I agree with him that the second half is not as strong as the first half. That's really all I have to say about it. I liked it just fine. It just didn't blow my mind away. This actually probably should have been first. It didn't do as much for me as Bloodwater Paint, but anyway, this was sent to me for review. This is Ghostwall by Sarah Moss. I am gonna say I'm not gonna talk about it in this review, in this wrap-up. I'm going to do a full in-depth review of this in its own video because it was sent for me for review, but also I went into this knowing nothing, so I really recommend that as the way to do it. So I'm going to give you all a little bit longer to pick it up and see what you guys think. It's good. I recommend it, but it's so short that it's hard to summarize, there we go, summarize without giving away a lot of it. And I really think it's worth diving into knowing nothing. But I'm still going to do a full in-depth review of my thoughts. So I want to gather my thoughts a little bit better and figure out how to do it without, giving away anything. So we'll see how that goes. Then, after so many years of hearing about it, I read My Name is Leon by Kit DeWall. I will not be reading another Kit DeWall. I loved this book, I did, but I liked the premise of it and the idea of it, but I don't think I would like her other book that she's written because I don't like the premise and I like her writing style. I don't love it. So I wouldn't want to read a book that I wasn't excited about the summary of. in her writing style. Does that make sense? Like, I love the book. I just wouldn't say that I want to read all of her work because her writing style doesn't gel with me the same way that I wish it did. This is about Leon. He is a black child and his brother is white, and he is in the foster system, and his brother is adopted almost immediately as a little white baby, and he is left alone, and it is the story of the system and how it hurts people and how it damages people. He's such a lovable character, Leon, and I really wish him the best, and I really hope that you guys get to read this. It's a lot of intense emotions and a lot of feelings, and it left me feeling a lot of dread and excitement, but at the same time a lot of love, and I did enjoy it. I did not love it as much as Mercedes and Lauren, but I still really recommend it as a book. Then I got really stupid and dived into this in a day. This is The Real Lolita, The Kidnapping of Sally Horner, and the Novel of the Scandalized World. This is Sarah Winman. And trigger warnings, you guys. Like, serious trigger warnings. Serious trigger warnings. I wish I had listened to my gut on this and not read it after reading a horror book, because this is so hard, you guys. Like, this is really difficult, and it's a sad story. It's a really sad story. It is heartbreaking and riveting and beautiful and sad and scary, and it's so draining and so exhausting. And this is a story of Sally, who is the girl that Lolita is based on, and it is not pretty. It is not a happy story, and it does not end well. And I'm just gonna say that, like, it does not end well. Trigger warnings, you guys. Like, it's not for the lighthearted. Don't do it. If you don't think if you couldn't handle Lolita, do not touch that book. Do not touch that book if you could not read Lolita. Don't do it. Don't. If you read Lolita and thought it was too much, don't read that book. Like, really, that is not a book to go into thinking I might be okay. If you're questioning it, don't do it. Jane Eyre. This was a reread for Victober. Very excited that I got to reread it. Took me about 4 days. Not very long. Really loved it. Really enjoy it. Victorian literature takes me longer, but because I'd already read this, it didn't take me as long as I was expecting. I love it. It's one of my top favorite books of the year, of my life, and I definitely always recommend it. It's super beautiful, super wonderful, and I adore it. So this time around, I loved it, but I didn't love it as much. There was a book I loved more this month, so just so you know, it's not the book's fault. I just wasn't in the mindset to read it as I usually do and love it as I usually do. So, good one. Definitely wonderful. Highly recommend. If you haven't read it. I mean, most people have read it, so yes. And then the book that I enjoyed the most this month was another reread. Have not marked this on Goodreads. I need to do that. This is The Girl on the Landing by Paul Torday. I love this book. I've marked it to heck, and I adore it. It is the story of a man who, how much do I want to give away? It is the story of a man who is going through something, and it is affecting his life deeply. And you get to hear from his perspective and his wife's perspective and see what's going on. It's very interesting. I definitely recommend it. If you haven't read it, it is worth a read. It was hard for me to find here in the US, but I was able to do it through Barnes & Noble, which really disappoints me because I don't like to order through Barnes & Noble or through Amazon. But if you have to, it's really worth it. I really enjoy it, and I definitely recommend it. If you like books that talk about mental health, this is amazing. So those are all the books that I've read so far this month. I hope you guys enjoyed this wrap up. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you loved it, click that subscribe button down below. If you are not seeing my videos and you don't get notifications, go ahead and click the little bell in the corner and get the notifications more frequently. I will talk to you in the comments, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.